Welcome to the Pro-Bricky exclusive YouTube channel with Reverend Dr. Jason W. Morrison. I want to talk about parentification and the deep mental fucking injuries it can cause on the people that have practiced it. In my second marriage, I can't and don't think it's fair to go into all the details. It's just too graphic of how it all worked out. But we went on a trip, my wife at that time and myself, down to a place in Sydney called Darling Harbour. And we were set up there, and we went into a really nice pub, and behind us was this picture of this beautiful bird. And I said to the missus, hey, let's get our picture taken with the bird behind us. We're having a great time. And we had some trouble before all this with this parentification of a son. And she said, oh no, we can't do that. And I thought I was hearing things. She goes, no, we can't do that. I've gone, why? She goes, because, I won't say his name, he'll get jealous if he sees a picture of us on Facebook. Now, I was married to this woman. How do you think that felt? What did you think I was thinking at that point? What would you have thought? No, we can't have our picture taken together because if my son sees it, it'll upset him. What? Parentification deluxe at max. Heavy parentification. And that caused an injury in my mind. It was like a betrayal because I was just out having a good time with my wife. But in her subconscious, she really wanted to be with the son and was worried about how her son felt about being with me. Now, if you can see how powerful covert emotional enmeshment is, there's a classic example. This woman was married but still worried about how her son would feel with her new husband. Now, might I say, the son walked this woman down the aisle, which to me was absolutely bloody absurd. The whole thing was absurd, to be honest. And these are the messes you can get yourself into. That's parentification deluxe. You can't compete with that shit. Are you in a situation like that, be it a son or a daughter that you're up against, that's red hot covert emotional incest with the person that you're with? Or do you have a son or a daughter that you're in a relationship with and you're wondering what the hell is going on? It's parentification. It's parentification. The parent has surrogated the child, and now you're up against a child psychologically to compete for the emotions of the parent. And I'm telling you, it's absolute evil, because you don't want to come between parent and child, adult child. You don't want to disrupt anybody's relationship, really. You don't want to come between people. That's not the purpose. But there's many people that do. There's men and women out there that will try and break up families and ruin families and pull people apart. They don't understand healthy boundaries. And if you've had no boundaries in your house, you can't expect children or adult children to understand what they are if you've never had them there. How are they supposed to know if you've never had boundaries there? And now you're trying to install them, and these people are looking at you like you're mad. They're pushing back. They're not accepting that this is going to be a healthy thing for everyone, because they were never there. You can't force something on somebody that they just don't understand. And this is where the world of single mothers is starting to catch up with itself, because they've surrogated their children, and now the children are sabotaging their relationships through possession of supply. They want the supply of the father or the mother, which they've been given for most of their life, without boundaries. The parent-child relationships turned into parent-surrogate partner relationship, where now information is being shared on an adult level with the child. And that causes all sorts of psychological complications on not only the parent but the child as well, because you'll find the parent doesn't know how to let go either. They've built their maternal securities around their child, and that's not something that a child should be subject to, an adult child or teenage child or anything else for that matter shouldn't be subjected to that kind of responsibility. And then the child feels responsible to keep up that supply to the parent, and then the child wants their supply from the parent. Now you throw a third person into the mix, the parent wants a partner or the child wants a partner, and watch what happens. You can't stop it. There it is. Full moon. Boom. It's not something you can stop. It's not something you can manage. It's definitely not something you can control. And it takes years to break. Well, I don't think you can. I have not seen a case where covert emotional incest has been successfully broken, because it's too deeply formed into the child at a young age. There is, when parents get older, of course, just pure duty of care to the parent from the child, and child to the parent. But this is different level. This is a parent that surrogated the child as a partner without sex. In some cases it does turn to sex. Some. And these people will be, it's a crime, because it's not healthy. That's the physical, full-blown dimension of it. But the emotional dimension of it, which is much more covert, is just as deadly. People get hurt. And it's a dysfunctional form of parenting as a result of broken relationships. But it's not a substitute for it that works. You'll find that when the children try and have relationships, they get into all sorts of trouble. When the parent tries to have a relationship, there's all sorts of trouble and interfering. And it just goes round and round. And these people end up cohabitating with each other. No partners, no nothing. Because their bonds were too strong. They're built on security. A lot of these mothers will groom these children in a way in which they don't want to leave home. So they're guaranteed to have somebody there for them when they get older. That's how they wing it. And it turns around to bite them when the child goes, for the most part, screw this, I'm out of here. And then the parents left on their own anyway. So they've psychologically violated the child by trying to groom them into thinking that they're going to be dependent on the parent for the rest of their life. And then when the child leaves, the parent ends up with egg on their face, and they despise the partner of who? Of the child. Now reverse it. The child commits to the parent covertly and emotionally. It's not verbal. It's all communicated in the spirit and the emotional realm. And the parent gets the partner. Right? What's the child do? The child will not accept the parent's new partner because they're attached. That attachment now is being intruded upon from an outsider. So the whole thing doesn't work. Covert emotional incest is an emotional crime, not just to the people that are in it, but to the people that try and love these people, because it will do everything it can to sabotage the third person, which is the outsider that's trying to come in to love the parent, or the third person that's trying to come in to love the child. And for the most part, these people don't even know they're in it. They think they're just loving one another and it's all just family love, and it's not. It's much more diabolical and darker than just the parent-child relationship. Because in a healthy parent-child relationship, there'll be no animosity towards the third person. There'll be encouragement. There'll be like-mindedness. There won't be a repulsion. There won't be a rebellion. There won't be sabotaging behaviour. There won't be, definitely won't be performances of infantile precedences in a way in which the relationship's got to go. I never had to study this thing, this family dynamic problem. I never had to study it. I lived it. I saw it. Now, in my family, where this was the case, my mother set up boundaries immediately. There was boundaries put in place around our misbehaviour immediately. She just had that nature. She valued the man that she loved enough to go, hang on, you don't come into adult life. And it was easy to see, it was easy to understand. We were pretty young though. But later in life, after the first stepfather died and she met other men, we played up at first, but we realised that Mum deserves to be loved And it's not up to us to object or not. We need to support her in these attempts to be loved, right? So that she can flourish in the time that she's got left in her life. But that came about because she set up the boundaries for us to work from. Because she believed in her love and the man that was trying to love her. If you get with a woman that don't know how to do this and then end up with children that totally disrespect you as their partner, it's just intolerable. And it's not a good sign from the woman that you're with. It's sabotaging behaviour. Somebody's going to get hurt. And I can guarantee you it's not going to be the child. That's not how maternal instincts work. Oh, they'll try everything they can to try and turn it around. But as I said, I haven't seen one case that I've been involved in come anywhere near being made harmonious. Not one. Not one case. Who loses? Really, who loses? You know who loses? I'll tell you. The mother. She ends up with a grisly, miserable, gremlin, minion children that she's helped form. She misses out on the man that wanted to try and was trying in most cases. If the man's a grub, you can't blame the children for playing up. You can't blame him for saying, no, fuck this. You know, if he's a drunk or a gambler or just not a kind-hearted, genuine type of person. Those types try and those types try and block and divide the parent and children from each other anyway. And it just ends up a horrible mess for the woman. So what do you do if you're one of these partners? Be it to the child, adult child, or to the parent, what do you do? I've tried to battle it out. And the last lady I was with tried to battle it out. But she didn't, and it's not a criticism, she just didn't have the skill or the value, I don't know, only she knows, to set up boundaries in a way in which she was going to make it clear to these boys that this man's a part of my life. He goes where I go, whether you like it or not. And I love yous all and we're all going to get along. She couldn't do that. For me, I tried to show her how valuable she was to me. I tolerated it for about 9 months. And sure enough, a situation come about where everything got cornered. She got her way, they got their way. But I don't know how much she thought that could have been the end of the relationship. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if that was part of a reverse discard or not. Still not sure. I spent enough hours thinking about it. But I'd come to a point where it was so oppressive, the unnecessary villainisation of myself, that I contacted her. She said it was my fault anyway, why didn't I fix it and all this. I can't fix decades of people being taught to hate men. How can I fix that? And to me, that showed me that she had resentment towards me. She was, at some percentage which I'll never know, convinced that it was all my fault. And really, to be honest with you, I was just a spectator of people that were unable to accept that their mother had a partner. That's all it was. They couldn't accept it. The boys couldn't accept it. And this happens to people all the time. The lucky part for me was I knew what it was. And I guess the lucky part for her as well, because we got another 9 months together. We did manage another 9 months. But in the end, I didn't think it was fair on her either. She made a good enough effort. She was never going to change anything. It wasn't healthy for me. I'm not sure how much that mattered to her, or whether she was just winging it or what. I don't know. There wasn't enough conversation on it. It usually got squashed. And I called it. And so that was the end of that. That's how powerful covert emotional incest is. It will win in the end. I've never seen a case of it where it hasn't. Because the children, they won't allow it. They don't want to lose the safety and security and supply of their mother, even as adults. And the mother's brought that on herself because she's made it and played it raising these children. So to some extent, whether they'll admit it or not, have caused those children to be dependent on her so that she don't lose them either. It's quite evil, isn't it? This is Reverend Dr. Jason W. Morrison on the ProBrick exclusive YouTube channel. Bye for now.